Hello, hello. My name is Eunice-Grace Domingo, the head managing and poetry editor for Windscript Volume 42. Working with this year's group has genuinely been the highest honor. In a world that's so oversaturated with Gen AI technology, anti-intellectualism, and rising disrespect against the arts and humanities, it was truly a privilege to collaborate with real human talent and potential, especially from such young minds and imaginations. As a writer myself, I know how easy it is to fall into despair and take for granted the natural creativity that we all have inside of ourselves. But that's exactly what makes what we do all the more important. So to all the writers who submitted to us, I commend you for entering and for having the courage to try and try and try again. Please enjoy Windscript 42. Happy reading.
Hello, my name is Tomilola, and I am the Associate Prose Editor for Windscript Volume 42. This year, the writing was so lush and evocative, and I feel really grateful to be involved in platforming real human emotion from young minds filled with such potential. In our world today, it is so important to be relentless in championing the arts, to protect modes of expression, and to never forget that there is such a wealth of knowledge to be found in exploring different ways of being. I wish all of our young writers fun, luck, and blessing as they carve a place for themselves in our ever-changing but ultimately beloved world. Creators of all ages, never stop putting yourself out there. Your time will come. Happy reading, and bye, you guys.
Hi, my name is Zaid bin Rehan, and today I'm going to be reading to you an excerpt of my poem, For I Swear I'm Happy. I swear on every second that drifts by, tick, 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 a melody that extracts a heavy toll, a dimension for the wondrous and daring that have chosen to paint a masterpiece, for I swear my painting is to the likes of Van Gogh. I swear on the starry night that gleams above, on the dead that wander among you and I, with strange blackened tongues, tears undried, scarring wounds from which blood drips one by one, rippling to a cold puddle of soulless regret and life forlorn. I swear on the shattered mirror in which I now stare, swear on the heavy drop that falls from my crestfallen eyes, swear on the fact that it was out of joy, not despair, yet I gazed closer, nothing but nothing in there. I gazed at the mirror once again, this time the last, I swear, no matter the stride one takes, the deed one does, I can't help but notice it with a dilapidated soul, my nose no longer than Pinocchio's ever was.
I'm Jame Anthony, and this is an excerpt from my poem, Part the Ocean. It's still dark with warm light leading us. It's in the AMs already, and we walk in a breeze. The swings are tempting, and we heed the call. After dozens of pumps, they leave in favor of something new. But I stay. I make no noise for once, push back tears that have bullied me. Try to breathe as I reflect on it all. Their birthday with no confetti, only broken glass. Insecurities that find their way into dreams, my own darkest hours, and the self the best kept secret. Told not to hold hands down that street. The radio smells like gunpowder, knowing the letters you write to try and explain your soul will be passed around then forgotten. But I wish they could take one moment for us, one task. It doesn't have to be big. No, we deserve it. We've been through it. We need it. And I'll continue to beg that for once only, they would part the ocean.
Hello, I'm Dawsyn, and today I'm going to be reading you an excerpt from my story, Jorge's Magic Book. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Jorge. Now, the thing about Jorge is that he loved books. He had bookshelves and bookshelves, all different sorts of stories. That was until one day, Jorge's mom forced him to clean out his bookshelf because the number of books he had was getting way too out of hand. Although he didn't want to say goodbye to his precious collection, Jorge agreed. And while he was cleaning out his bookshelf, he stumbled upon a mysterious book covered in dust that he had never seen before. And as he pulled it out from behind the bookshelf, he could feel something calling him. At first he was a bit skeptical, but eventually he gave in to the book's power. As he opened it, he could feel something pulling him in, literally, and before he knew it, he had been sucked into the magic book.
My name is Catherine Okolita, and I'm going to be reading an excerpt from my piece, Lost in the Colors. Red seeped into the edges of childhood the way rust crept up the swing set frame at the school playground. I used to push myself so high on that swing that I convinced myself I was flying. The scarlet leaves above me flicked in and out of view, matching the rhythm of the squeaking chains. The ground beneath that swing was packed hard from years of dragging feet, a dusty orange-red that stained every scraped knee I earned. And there were many. The prairie summers don't go easy on you. Every fall and tumble taught me something about pain, but also about getting back up. Red wasn't gentle like yellow. It carried more of a weight, a dull ache. I think then, red was how the world told me it could hurt me. But then I looked at the ruby-streaked sky, and I believed nothing could ever go wrong in this beautiful world.
Hi, my name is Yashasvi or Yes, and this is an excerpt from my poem Becoming and Unbecoming. It's strange how growing up feels like walking through a house. You've lived in forever, but noticing the walls are closer, the ceiling is taller. The streets still hum their familiar tune, yet my steps no longer follow their rhythm. The wind carries whispers of what once was, and I walk, half a stranger, through places I once called mine. I find fragments of who I was, pressed between the pages of forgotten notebooks, and melodies that no longer sound the same, and echoes once believed eternal. At times, I long to reach the hush of years, to touch that younger soul, to tell her that her dreams still breathe, only softer now, shaped by the quiet mercy of change. Perhaps this is what it means to grow, to gather the ghosts of your becoming, to hold them not with grief, but grace, and walk onward anyway, becoming and unbecoming, endlessly and gently.
Hi, my name is Crystal, and I'm here to read you a short part of my prose called The Sound of the Sun. I used to think that the sun made no sound. Teachers said that everything in space was silent, and I believed them the way kids believed anything said with enough confidence. But last summer, I found out that they were wrong. Not because I heard the sun, but because I learned how something can be so loud even if it makes no noise at all. At night, when the house slept, I went outside. Not far though, just to the roof which I had climbed so often it felt like a second bedroom. I'd swing my legs over the gutter, lie back on the shingles, and watch the sky drip with stars. The air at night carried everything differently. The cricket static, the distant hum of the highway, the slow breathing of the house behind me. And somewhere, above all that, the silent roar of the sun, burning and burning and burning, too far to hear, but too powerful to ignore. I started counting the nights I had left with it. Thank you.
Hi, I am Kevin Husband, and this is my short story, Death by Odds. We were trapped, with enough resources only to sustain one of us. Alexander and I knew our fate. Either we would both die sharing our ever-dwindling resources, or one of us would have to die, in effect saving the other. Neither of us murderers, we looked at each other to consider what to do. Only one of us can live, I said, stating the obvious. Or we could both die together. He snarled, clearly disliking my suggestion. What is the point of both of us dying when one of us can survive? One of us needs to die, but not by the other's hand. We will let randomness decide. He pulled out a revolver. It was well used in the war. The barrel was dirty, as were the handle and chamber, yet the trigger gleamed like it was brand new.
Nur ul-Nisa, beyond the veils of hushed cries. I searched the sky that held my mother, looking for the star that burned the dark. I used to ask her, why is it that we are so selfish? hateful, temporary? She would tell me, "Oh, my little flame, we come from dust, to dust we go." Her words echoed truth, for all around me, death was more friend than foe. I stand there as the school doors close on my face. They taunt, they tease, they chase me away. But the rips in my clothes are testimonies of my existence. For who would actually know my name, my pain, my resistance? My name is not poverty. My name is not pain.
My name is Boyan, and I will be reading an excerpt from my short story, Field of Wheat Stalks. Ma, your son has never been as studied as his brothers, nor has he worked as hard as them. But my head has been trying to figure something out. Laugh if you can, Ma. Your son has never been smart. But I don't understand why people like us never have enough food. You and Ba always taught me that good people will always receive from the world. We're good people, right? I've never done anything wrong in my life, but I've been cold and hungry for my whole life. I just don't understand, Ma. Lee, thinking about these things doesn't suit you, she spoke in a whisper. You're a simple boy, and that is good. It made you happier. I'm sorry, Lee. I'm so sorry for everything. Please, just remember, someday you'll go to heaven because you have only been good.
My name is Braylon Campbell, and I'll be reading my piece titled The Fall. I once sat in that room, gilded with gold, upholstered with satin, my seat level with those others, bejeweled more than mine. I lay in that field of grasses and reeds, a palm outstretched to the sky, the other behind my head. I felt the clouds, a soft bed of the earth's tears, a place to be in solitude and dream. Most of all, I saw those smiles. Soft whispers melt my heart and taint my sleep. Now I feel the wind, and I see the sky, and I touch the clouds as I fall. Those hands that held me in comfort and reverence, those eyes that watched me with love and admiration, gone, cast out. Those words that filled my rest now seep into those of my nightmares, oozing in every corner. My pitiful wings battered beneath me like those melted ones of Icarus, who almost had it all but failed. I see the blue approach me, and I curl around myself like a child, as I hit those cold blue depths, and I am gone.